Hi again, everyone, and welcome to the Mercer County Football Show here on WBCB1490.com. Alongside Rich Fisher, I'm Mike Samsel, and Rich, it wasn't a perfect week for Mercer County football in the playoffs, but we've certainly had worse.
Oh, this is one of the best first-round weeks out. I mean, name me the last time that Mercer County played over 500 on a week, the first week of playoff football.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 games, they won 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great week. It's, there's been years where Mercer's gotten wiped out, 0-9 in the first week of the playoffs. Yeah. So there's nothing to be ashamed of about that. And the interesting thing is, probably the 3 top players in Mercer County are left in the playoffs.
Right.
You got Jordan Winston at Allentown, Damian Doggett at Ewing, and Reggie DeMonch at Hamilton West.
Well, when you get to this time of the year and when you get to this level of the playoff, you got to remember, Ewing is in Central Jersey Group 3, Hamilton in South Jersey Group 3. The Group 4 is Allentown. The competition gets a little tougher up there, but when you're looking at Group 3, if you have the best player on the field, that makes a difference. You can win with 1 or 2 guys at that Group 3, Group 2 level.
Yeah, you can. I don't know about Group 3. Maybe Group 2. Group 3 a little bit because you got more guys playing both ways.
Sure.
3 and 4, there's a little bit of a difference. 2, yeah, definitely, but... Yeah, I mean, these are 3 great players, and all 3 of them. Reggie had a little more help last week, I think, than the other 2. But it's still, we know, Mike, it's a team game, and if guys aren't blocking for people and other guys aren't making tackles, your stars aren't going to perform. So the stars need the rest of the guys to come through. I wasn't really trying to make a point there. I just found it interesting that all 3, that probably who I think are the 3 best players. And, John Adams even said after the Hamilton game, he thinks Reggie DeMonch is the player of the year in Mercer County, with all respect to Doggett and Winston. Now, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to make that pick.
Yeah.
I'm not taking sides, but I do think they're the 3 best players.
Wait a minute. We don't get a vote?
I don't want to vote. I don't ever want to vote. I don't want any. I don't want to pick teams. I don't want to do. I don't want to. More people get mad at you than like you on something like that.
Want to remind you, we're going to have 2 of these playoff games coming up this weekend on the WBCB Sports Network on Friday night on 1490 AM and video streamed on our website, WBCB1490.com. It will be myself and Nottingham North Stars head coach John Adams on the call, as Ewing will be in action taking on South Plainfield over on 107.7 The Bronx and 107.7thebronx.com. No video stream on this one, just audio. Chris Ermer and this guy over here will be down the shore as Hamilton Township will take on Wall. So we'll have both Ewing and Hamilton Township covered for you on the WBCB Sports Network this weekend. Another member of our broadcast team, Sean Miller, even though we won't be broadcasting the game, he's going to be at the Allentown Jackson Memorial game. So if you want to follow that one on Twitter, he's at the Prodigal Sean. So that's how we'll have all your coverage for you this weekend on the WBCB Sports Network. And I'm sure one of your reporters will be out for the Trentonian. One of your reporters will be out at Allentown.
Of course. Well, they'll be at Allentown and they'll be at Hamilton. I'll be at Hamilton too, but I'll be there for Fish for Scores, not for the Trentonian.
Okay.
I don't know who will be there, but somebody will, I'm sure. Somebody will be at Allentown.
Yep.
I don't know who's going where. I don't care. I just worry about myself. I care less. So,
well, with that,
as long as I know Chris Ermer's there, that's who I'm working with, and that's fine.
There you go. So that'll be our coverage for you this weekend on the WBCB Sports Network. We'll have a reporter, Sean Miller. He's working for NJ.com, but he'll be out at the Allentown Jackson Memorial game. Fish will be on the Bronx covering Hamilton and Wall, and I'll be on 1490 and WBCB1490.com video stream as Ewing takes on South Plainfield. That's our coverage for you this weekend. We'll preview this weekend and circle back to last weekend next. You're watching the Mercer County Football Show here on WBCB1490.com.
Merrill Reese, here to tell you about my good friends at Haldeman Ford Subaru on Route 33 in Hamilton Township. For outstanding sales and service, you can depend on the folks at Haldeman Ford Subaru for the best value on new and pre-owned Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, along with a great selection of value-priced new and pre-owned Subarus. And no one offers the service that Haldeman does in their huge, state-of-the-art service facility. Service so great that many area municipalities and commercial fleets get their service performed by Haldeman Ford Subaru. From Langhorne to Princeton, folks like you to commercial fleets trust the name Haldeman for sales and service. Haldeman Ford Subaru, Route 33 in Hamilton Township.
Jerry Blavitt here to tell you about St. Francis Medical Center, the heart hospital in the city of Trenton. St. Francis Medical Center is one of the region's top cardiac care centers, serving all of Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. Their staff of highly trained physicians provide state-of-the-art heart care to patients with cardiovascular disease and pride themselves as being the only regional heart center to offer a full spectrum of individualized services. And Consumer Report ranks St. Francis Medical Center in the top 10 hospitals in New Jersey for safety, and the #1 hospital in Mercer County, St. Francis Medical Center, the Heart Hospital.
Hello, this is Acting Mercer County Prosecutor Angelo Honorfree, and I hope you're enjoying today's game. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all of our Mercer County teams the best of luck, and I would also like to urge parents to be involved in your children's activities. Urge them to participate in after-school activities, whether it's on the athletic field or in the school play or marching band. Participation in these programs is a great learning experience for your child. Parents, please stay involved. This is your Acting Mercer County Prosecutor Angelo Honorfree, and I hope you enjoy today's
Hi, everybody,
game.
and welcome back to the Mercer County Football Show here on WBCB1490.com. And that's Rich. I'm Mike. Thanks so much for hanging out with us this week. I want to remind you this week's show, as always, brought to you by the St. Francis Medical Center, your heart hospital in the city of Trenton. Also by those guys, Haldeman Ford Subaru. We appreciate their help this season, as well as the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, who thankfully and surprisingly, me and Rich have mostly been able to stay out of his office. So, out of trouble with Angelo Honorfree. Let's take a look. Don't say anymore. I don't want to know. Let's take a look at last week's results here in Mercer County. We'll start down in South Jersey Group 3. Hamilton 26-12 on the road at Lakewood.
Yeah, what a game that was. And right now, Hamilton West is undefeated in its playoff history in South Jersey, since that was its first South Jersey playoff game.
Highest winning percentage ever.
Ever. 1-0 in South Jersey playoffs for Hamilton. Great win for the Hornets. They fell behind twice. They fell behind 6-0 and 12-6 and scored 20 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. The tide of the entire game changed when James White, one of that really strong defensive line, went in to block a pass, went to block it, came down, cupped the ball into his body, got the interception, just trying to make a deflection, gave Hamilton the ball about the 11-yard line. Reggie DeMont scored on a 15-yard touchdown run. That started Hamilton on 20 straight. Barry Naday kicked the extra point, which proved to be the winning point. And Hamilton scored 2 more touchdowns to go on and win 26-12. So you had that, and then we move on to
Next one, yeah, we have in Central Jersey Group 3, Ewing was victorious over Carteret. Their first playoff win in 14 years, finally kind of wiping away the hurt from the no Sean Marino play.
From the, yes, exactly. I forgot about that. Middletown South, yeah. All right, the Blue Devils, yeah, like you said, first win in 14 years, and like Hamilton, they had to come from behind to do it. Carteret came out, first drive of the game, went 80 yards for a touchdown. Drew Besler noted after the game his team's been doing that a lot. They've been giving up early scores in the first and second drive. Did not deter the Blue Devils. But, yeah, however, as they rallied behind their leader, Damian Doggett. He tied it with a touchdown. Matt Hunkley hit a field goal. Tyquan Parker scored the game-sealing touchdown in the fourth quarter. Ewing wins 17-7 against Carteret.
Well, you know what was most impressive about this game to me and for Ewing is the fact that they won this game mostly with their defense.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, and this is the first time this year that Ewing has allowed less than double figures in a game. 7 points, that's a season low for Ewing. Everybody else has scored at least 10 or more.
In Central Jersey Group 4, Allentown 48, Morristown 3. We kind of saw this one coming. The Redbirds keep rolling.
Yeah, they took no prisoners. Mike, ever since you and I were at the Trenton game where they nearly blew a 27-0 lead 3 games ago, they weren't going to let that happen again. They've just blown out their last 2. Jordan Winston had his usual game, rushed for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns, threw for 120 yards and a touchdown. Joey Menino ran for 126 yards and a touchdown. And Aiden Chavis is a monster on returns lately. Had return runs of 63 yards on a kickoff, 66 on a punt for 2 touchdowns. and the defense held Morristown to just 58 yards. So, you know. And the other two teams that played, Lawrence, they fell to, who the heck was it? South Plainfield. Nottingham fell to Jackson Memorial, who we'll talk about both those teams in a minute.
Yeah, we'll talk about both those teams in a minute because we're going to have both of them for you on the WBCB Sports Network. Well, one of them anyway, in South Plainfield, as some of the matchups in Mercer County are going to be good ones. Let's start off in South Jersey Group 3. Hamilton has to go on the road again. Tough matchup with the number 1 seed Wall. Not an unwinnable game for Hamilton, but Reggie DeMonch is probably going to have to be superhuman in his effort on Friday night.
No, not just Reggie. I mean, the unsung heroes of this team all year has been the defensive line.
Yeah.
Hamilton, they're kind of, we talked about Ewing, first win in 14 years. This is Hamilton's coming off their first playoff win in 6 years. When Marvin Leontis, who went over to serve in Iraq, very proud of Marvin. He was the quarterback of that team when they beat West Windsor Plainsboro North, and he was a wreck on Twitter the other day, following my tweets and saying, I can't take this. And so we're happy for Marvin that they came up with the win. The Crimson Knights had absolutely no problem in their first-round win over Camden. They scored in every quarter. They took a 35-0 win. Sean Larkin, 229 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Eddie Scott, 80 yards and a touchdown. Brady McNally, 69 yards in the score. Wall threw 2 times, and that was it. Didn't complete either, but ran for 302 yards. Talked to Tom Hoagland this week. He's kind of hoping that's going to play into the Hornets' strength. Their front 8 has really been outstanding. I mean, the defensive line has been dominating the line of scrimmage. Reggie, as we mentioned, is one of the best linebackers in the playoffs. Wall's strength is its running game, and you got to think back to 2 weeks ago. Even though they lost, Hamilton held a very good Nottingham rushing attack to just 30 yards on the ground. So Hamilton can play the run well. However, Wall presents a really, really tough challenge. They've averaged over 30 points a game. They've given up an average of just 12 a game, a little under 12 a game. They do throw the ball at times. Their quarterback, Eddie Scott, has thrown for 677 yards and 7 touchdowns. They got big play receivers in Chavez Coven and R.J. Janasek. They average between 18 and 25 yards a catch. But this running game is what's really frightening. Larkin has rushed for 962 yards and 15 TDs. 3 other backs have rushed between 311 and 423 yards, combined for 10 touchdowns. Hamilton, their quarterback, Ezekiel Patterson, he's been playing well all year, really stepped up his effort in the recent games. He's really matured as a quarterback, this junior. He's completed 61% of his passes, 1,200, almost 1,300 yards, and 11 touchdowns with just 5 interceptions. DeMonch has caught, how's this for balance in one guy? We mentioned Winston last week. DeMonch has 398 receiving yards, 398 rushing yards.
Wow.
Siri Peters is Hamilton's leading rusher with 429 yards. Here's the key, right here. Here's the names. Ramel Turner, James White, Marlon Pert, John Petrowski, Donovan Yam, a sophomore who rotates in. Can they handle Wall's rushing game? Can they handle that offensive line of Wall? They've only allowed 10 points a game in their 6 wins, so it's kind of strength against strength.
I know you think those are the key names, but I'm going to go a little bit the other way.
Okay.
I think there are 3 key names in this game for Hamilton. Ezekiel Patterson, Sire Peters, and Reggie DeMonch.
Yeah.
The best way to control an offense is to keep them off the field.
Exactly. Yeah.
Run the football, see if you can grind this game out, see if you can hit some big plays over the top, but controlling the line of scrimmage offensively, I think, is going to be as big a part of the game as it is defensively.
Yeah.
Hamilton can't afford to give up that big early drive. They can't afford to maybe fall behind by a couple of touchdowns, because all of a sudden that takes you out of your flow and you're chasing the entire game. But if Hamilton can strike first, I think, because you got to remember, all of a sudden, the Shore Conference was used to dominating Mercer County. They haven't really been able to do that of late. All of a sudden, if Hamilton is able to get an early lead in this game, you put a little bit of fear in those players and in those stands of oh no, is this another Mercer County team coming down here to do it to us? Is this another Hopewell Valley? Is this another Nottingham?
Yeah. Thing is about Hamilton, though, they're not the old Hamilton. They're not a grinded out, time-consuming team. So I don't know if they're going to be able to control the clip. They don't like Nottingham. They don't go on these 8-9 minute drives. You know, they Ezekiel Patterson's thrown the ball. I mean, he's thrown for almost 1,300 yards. So I think, yeah, sure, you'd like to have a nice ball control offense and keep them off the field. Maybe some short passes and stuff like that. But they like to go deep. They've been going vertical. And I think, conversely, if they do get behind 2 touchdowns, they're better equipped this year to come back from that than they were in past years, because all they had was a running game where they would grind out 5 yards a game. At the same time, yes, you always want to have a ball control offense. Right. I mean, that goes without saying that, you know, you can keep a good offense off the field. That's your best defense. And sure, I mean, if Hamilton can do that, all the more power to them. If they can't, though, this defensive front is going to have to do a good job.
Absolutely, that is true. Again, Hamilton takes on Wall. You'll be able to hear that game on 107.7 The Bronx and 107thebronx.com. Also, download the free Bronx Android and iPhone app. Ooh, that was difficult for me to get out. Free Bronx Android and iPhone app. WRRC1 is what you're looking for. That way there, if you can't get to the computer, if you can't get to, to the station, you'll be able to tune in and listen to it on your mobile phone. Next game is the game that we're going to have for you here on 1490 AM and online at WBCB1490.com. That features South Plainfield and Ewing. This one could be one of the games of the week in all of Mercer, or not in all of Mercer County, but in all of the NJSIAA playoffs.
Yeah, this looks pretty even. 2 7-win teams. South Plainfield 7-2, Ewing 7-3. It's rare, Mike. This is a rare occasion where Hamilton or a Mercer team is playing a second straight playoff game without running into a shore conference foe.
Right.
They're getting a team from the Greater Middlesex Conference for the second straight week. South Plainfield, as we mentioned, beat Lawrence 27-6. They snapped a 2-2 tie with 2 second quarter touchdowns. Zach Del Vecchio, 112 yards rushing. Quarterback. This is interesting. Quarterback Charles Lovett. He hurt himself a little while ago, and let's just say what he did. He rushed for 80 yards and a touchdown, threw a 42-yard touchdown pass to Gene Sapini, who caught 2 in the end zone. So Lovett was playing his first game since suffering a high ankle sprain against St. Joe's Metuchen on October 7th. Tigers are a different team with him in the lineup. Their only 2 losses came in the game he got hurt and the full game that he missed, and a full game that he missed.
Yep.
Despite missing 3 games, Lovett's rushed for 427 yards and 6 TDs, thrown for 222 and 2 TDs. Not blowing away stats, but he did miss 3 games. Sapini has caught 26 balls for 5 TDs. Del Vecchio's rushed for 739, 7 TDs. So they can do a little bit of everything. They've allowed 17 points a game, Mike, but in their 7 wins, they've only averaged just under 10 a game.
Right.
So you got to score to beat them. Ewing, after a midseason letdown when they lost 3 out of 4, they've come back to win 3 straight, and they've held teams under double figures for the first time, as we mentioned, against Carteret, holding them to 7 points. Doggett obviously comes into the game as the player everybody's going to watch. He's completed 53% of his passes for 1,530 yards. That comes out to 10 yards per attempt. Not completion, but per attempt.
Right.
And he's thrown for 9 touchdowns. He's rushed for 845 yards and 15 touchdowns. God, what a season. 845 yards and 15 touchdowns.
Coach Adams, you want to rethink that thing about Reggie DeMond?
Yeah, well, everybody's got their opinion.
Yeah.
Doggett, 2 effective receivers, and Taylor Gordy with 22 catches for 420 yards and 6 TDs. Tyquan Parker's been a pretty effective guy getting in the end zone with 5 touchdowns. He has to be watched as a receiver and as a runner. This game could be a toss-up. You might think home field might make a difference, Mike. That's a long ride. It's a long and tedious ride from South Plainfield. It's a pain in the neck.
Well, not only that, we talked a whole lot about the Wandishin Wackos in the gymnasium. I'm sure they're going to be in full force outdoors on Friday night.
Yeah, I would think so. And if that happens, look out. Ewing could get into that final for the 3rd time, and that would be interesting because in their history, Ewing is 2-0 in state finals.
Right.
So if they get there, they win them. So let's see what happens. But How do you stop a Damian Doggett, Mike? That's what South Plainfield's going to have to try to figure out.
Yeah, not many teams in Mercer County have been successful in figuring that out. Myself and John Adams will have the call of that game here on 1490 AM. You can hear it or you can watch it on our website, WBCB1490.com. Also a reminder, you can listen to it on our website. You don't have to pull up the video. If you just click the Listen Live link on our website, you can listen to just the audio of the game as well. Final game that we're going to talk about is going to be a good one as well. Jackson Memorial, Allentown. Ladies and gentlemen, your main event of the evening.
Yeah, boy, I so wish I was going to be watching this game. I mean, Jackson Memorial 6-4, the 6th seed. Yeah, right. Allentown 8-2, the 2nd seed. I'm telling you right now, after watching Jackson dominate Nottingham last week, 39-6, this is not a 6th seed. I assure you that. Jackson is a team that raises its level of play in the state playoffs. The Jaguars have won 2 straight sectional titles, 5 overall, 21-9 in playoff games, 700 winning percentage in the playoffs. They enter the game on a 4-game winning streak. They have one of the state's top running backs in Mike Gawlick. Wow, was he fun to watch. Not for Nottingham, but for us. He rushed for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns against the North Stars. For the season, he's over 1,800 yards with 22 touchdowns. But here's the thing, Mike. Here's what makes Jackson really scary. You can, if you stop Gawlick, which is, it's like saying if you stop Doggett or whatever.
Right.
This kid, Dan Barker, this quarterback, he's a weapon when he needs to. He doesn't throw a lot, but when he had to, he converted 3rd down passes. I'm talking like 3rd and long, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 18. He completed them for 1st downs to keep drives alive last week. He threw for 164 yards and a touchdown, ran for 42 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's good stats for a quarterback who doesn't have a stud running the ball.
Right.
This kid's got Gawlick to go along with it. So you can't just say if you stop Gawlick, you're going to stop them. Defensively, Jaguars held Nottingham to 69 yards of total offense.
Wow.
During their winning streak, they've only allowed 9.5 points per game. So this is a really good team. But so is Allentown. Allentown, they're riding a 7-game winning streak. They're clicking on all cylinders. Now, Mike, what I was starting to say before, we saw them lose at 27-0 to Trenton, and Trenton nearly come back to win it. They kind of learned from that game. In the last 2 games, they've beaten their 2 opponents 102-10.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. They're not taking their foot off the gas at all.
I bet you Jay Graber's really upset about that 10.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Right? Jordan Winston, as we know, he's the key to the team. But what makes them a threat is, just like Gawlick has a little help with his quarterback, Winston, the quarterback, has help with running backs Menino, Chavez, Ricky Motrum. Makes it tough to key on Winston. He's thrown for 1,030 yards and 10 TDs. He's rushed for 1,019 and 10 TDs. But those other 3 guys can all run for 100 yards in a game. Motrum leads the defense. They have 23.5 sacks this year. Colin Roy's got 7.5. Jaquel Brown is 2nd on the team with 52 tackles, and he's forced 4 fumbles. So their defense is pretty good. This is going to be a tough challenge. I mean, the one thing you worry about in a game like this is Jackson's been knocking heads with very, very good teams all year, very physical teams. Allentown has played a few not-so-good teams, and that's not Allentown's fault. That's their schedule. That's their schedule, and they tried it. They played a tough St. Joe's Hamilton team earlier this year. Yeah. They've done what they could to get that good competition. Jackson's got a strong offensive line. Gawlick's one of those guys who can spin away from tacklers. He runs like his hair's on fire. He's just unbelievable. But Jackson has a challenge with what Allentown throws out there. Now, the wild card in this game could be special teams. Yeah. Chavez, with what he does with his return speed, he could be the difference. He could be the wild card in this game.
And don't forget about Chris McCray. What a good kicker.
Great kicker.
That freshman. He is. Good kicker, good punter. He is absolutely a weapon for that Allentown team. Not many high school teams are able to throw out there a kicker that you can depend on. If Allentown has a drive stall out, they're not afraid to try a 40-yard field goal.
No, and he's consistent on extra points. And like you said, he's punting. He's not quite as good a punter as he is a kicker, but he's good. I mean, he gets hang time and stuff like that. So, I mean, in the bottom line, Mike, this has the potential to be a classic. It really does. I mean, Whether that happens, who knows? I mean, it could be 40-0. Who the heck knows? But I mean, I don't think so. I think this is going to be a great, great, great game. And one thing I forgot to do was write down the consolation game winners last week. I do know Notre Dame won their consolation game, so they end on a high note. And I do know that Steiner won a consolation game, and this just deserves mentioning. Kyle Gankowitz, suffered a concussion, missed 3 straight games, came back in his consolation game to throw 4 touchdown passes.
Wow.
And Jordan Morrison, coming off a 6-touchdown game the week before, had 4 more. 10 touchdowns in 2 games. That's
so
like
bad.
a season. That's a season. And he's got 10 in 2 games. So I just thought that was worth mentioning. And they won in overtime. They won in overtime and scored first in overtime, and then held Pinelands. That's who they played.
Right.
Held them without score. And so, and I don't know if there was another consolation winner out there. If there was, I'm sorry, I forgot to write it down. So send all complaints to him.
Mike at WBCB1490.com. Before we get out of here, a couple of reminders. 2 games for you on the WBCB Sports Network this weekend. First one, Friday night, 6:45 on our website, WBCB1490.com. It'll be video streamed, or you can listen to it live on the AM. Myself and Nottingham head coach John Adams will have the call as Ewing takes on South Plainfield over on 107.7 FM and 107.7thebronx.com. Hamilton makes the trip down the shore to take on Wall. Chris Ermer, Rich Fisher will have the call of that game. We'll see you guys next week. Should be a fun Friday night, and go Mercer County.